depth year. So shall we do this? The depth year update. That time when I decided to not buy anything online during a worldwide pandemic. That update. My parameters, no buy unless. First year I was new to tarot, but told myself I couldn't buy any decks, no more than a few. How many's a few? Who knows? Let's just go with it. That year when I uploaded eBay on my phone for the first time in 12 years, but it wouldn't affect depth year, would it? That year where I invited my demons into play and said, sit down, I have cake, lots of cake, lots of tarot decks. Are they linked? So here it is, my depth year update. A video that could easily be titled, Welcome to my disordered personality. So, depth year, I kind of failed. And for everybody that wants to say, well, at least you tried, I kind of didn't try. It's not going to be a video where I give you pointers on how to do a really successful depth year. This video is going to have 5, possibly 6 pointers on how you might fail depth year, because I'm the expert in that. For anybody considering a low buy or a no buy year in 2021, this might be useful. It's how I failed, why I failed, what I could have done differently, a few pointers. It might be useful. If it's not useful, it might make you feel really together when you hear how not together I am. It's a gift to you either way, with my love. My depth year update, how you might fail. Pointer number 1, allow yourself a beginner's excitement. You are human. How many times do you get to start something new and to have that new love, excitement, that passion, where every direction you look in something is new? For me, that's what tarot has been in 2020. I was looking at walkthroughs and flip throughs and reviews of decks on TarotTube that were like 6-7 years old, and they were new decks to me. Everywhere I looked, it was a new deck. Everything was new, and it's human nature to not want to go to something that's been on the shelf for 10 years that you haven't looked at but you think you should. Your eyes are always going to be pulled to the new. But what if you're a complete beginner and everything is new, and all of a sudden the voice goes, no, you can't? That's what I did to myself. I'd had a few months buying the first few decks, and then I said no. And for me, it felt like abusive people from my past who told me no. And I knew that going into it. I knew depth year might trigger that for me. But I thought, no, you've treated yourself. You've got some nice decks to be going on with. So no. But I hadn't allowed myself enough joy of being the beginner. And that kept pushing me out like slippy ice or a banana peel to step on, that makes you lose your footing and you just can't help it. That beginner's excitement took me on a wave, and it was a wave I couldn't get off, and I didn't really want to get off, and it felt punitive, especially in 2020, to not allow myself that beginner's excitement. There are less new decks now. I kind of know the decks, and I'm kind of thinking, oh, what's coming out next? It's easier. There is a definition between new things and things I know about, instead of it all just being new. So if you're a beginner, if it's new, allow yourself that discovery year. For me, I've not needed a full year in that discovery mode. It's been about 10 months. And I think at 10 months, there was a definition then between new things coming out and recognising what I already know. But while I was in that discovery zone, depth is not a good idea. If you're new, allow yourself some time for the excitement of being new. And if you're not a newbie in discovery year, still take the time to say, is the time right for this? I never asked that question. Is the time right for depth year? It's a good question to start with. Just like a good joke, timing is everything. If you're a newbie to something, the timing might be off. Number 2, be clear with yourself. What are you trying to do? For depth year, that's kind of going to be decisions on whether it's a complete no buy year or whether it's a low buy year. And if it is a low buy year, be clear about your parameters for how much buying and in what categories you want to buy in. Because if you're not clear and you give yourself get outs, you're a human, you're going to take the get outs. I found for me that the get outs I gave myself, they were doorways to ruin for depth year for me. Get outs are doorways to ruin if you are on a depth year. Most things that are challenging need some clear parameters set around them for you to be successful. Take, say for instance, say a diet. Don't know why I thought of that one, but hey, let's just go with a diet. If you said to yourself, I'm allowed to eat cake if the weather's looking a bit dodgy, then any change in the weather, any hint of cloud, any slightly cold wind, any bit of drizzle, you'd be eating cake. It's a get out. The parameters aren't clear enough. It's not just a don't eat cake. You'd be constantly looking for a change in the weather. I had defined it as a no buy year. I was buying no clothes, no jewellery. That was easy. I don't want to buy any clothes at the minute. I've put on a ton of weight. Easy. Jewellery, I wasn't going anywhere. I only buy my jewellery from charity shops. I wasn't going out. Easy. Makeup, I didn't wear any makeup, although I started wearing makeup on in depth year and started buying it. What the hell? Hello, welcome to my dysfunction. Tarot decks, I said no more tarot decks, no more decks, Oracle Tarot, no more books. But I gave myself a few get outs. I said to myself, birthday in November and Christmas is coming up. November and December, birthday and Christmas. Those 2 words, birthday and Christmas, were the ruin of any attempt at depth year. I didn't specify how much I could buy for myself. So then literally every deck was like, well, it's for my birthday. I'm not going to say no. People never bought me birthday presents before. Of course I'm not going to say no. And my birthday pile ended up huge. My Christmas pile is even bigger. For me, birthday and Christmas was my hint of rain. And it was the next tarot deck being ordered because there was a hint of rain. It was my tarot and cake. I got onto tarot and cake again. It's funny really because I did eat cake as well as buying tarot decks. There is a link. It's not just about buying stuff, it's about behaviours and the way we cope with life. I did eat cake as well as buy tarot decks. Funny that. Welcome to my disorders. Come in, pull up a seat. If you muddy the waters, you're not going to be able to see your feet on the bottom of the pool. And you can't see where you're going. Don't muddy the waters by unclear parameters. Decide clearly. If it's no buy, it's no buy. If it's low buy, define what that means for you. And if there's a get out, make sure that's defined crystal clear in its own bubble and can't be moulded to fit your spending to suit. Number 3, apps on your phone are the biggest temptation ever. I said in my depth Youre announcement video that I just uploaded eBay the month before after 12 years of not having eBay. But I thought it will be fine. I've got Christmas coming up. It's 2020. We're buying things online now. Let's have Etsy on my phone. Let's have eBay on my phone. Christmas and birthday, need somewhere to shop. That was disastrous for me, and I'd even got notifications coming through, and that auction mentality of bidding and the clock counting down, if you've got the sort of personality that I've got, that auction feeling of the last one, half an hour to go, 10 minutes to go, 4 other watchers, I could feel my elbows coming up and they get out the way, I'm getting it no matter what mentality coming in. I used to go to auctions every week with my dad. We used to go to a house clearance auction on a Thursday, and by the age of about 12 he realised that he couldn't leave me on my own in the bidding house, because I knew the number we were bidding with and I would use it. And I bid on so many China dolls. I remember once my dad turned round to me and said, 20 quid for a doll, who would pay for that? And I was sat behind him with our paddle up in the air, giving our number, and he was like, oh. And I still have that doll. Be careful, know yourself, get rid of apps, block apps if you need to. I need to take Etsy and eBay off my phone and block them moving forward. The temptation is too much. Number 4, identify where you're already going deep before you go into it, and be clear about what going deep instead of wide means to you. What are you trying to get out of it? Are you already doing it? What do you think going deep on something will bring to you? I was already going deep with the decks I'd bought and the books I'd bought. And I was giving myself a hard time that I was buying more stuff, that I was being shallow, but I wasn't. I was already loving the books that I was reading and the decks I was studying, and I was journaling on them. Depth Youre isn't just about the buying, it's about the use of what you're buying. And yes, I wanted to buy more, but it didn't mean I wasn't already going deep with the things I'd got. And I think I gave myself a hard time, that somehow by stopping the spending, it would mean that I would acquire knowledge faster, or read more books, or be able to remember the card meanings quicker, or to understand that new tarot system quicker. And when it didn't mean that, it kind of made me give up on Depth Youre, because it was changing nothing. What I didn't stop to think was, you're already going really deep with what you've got, and you can't go any quicker. When you're studying, you want to learn it all yesterday. Witchcraft and the tarot is just, it's rabbit hole city. You slide halfway down one rabbit hole and you find another 10 and you're lost, and it's a maze of knowledge acquiring, and that can get so overwhelming. And I thought Depth Youre would mean that I started acquiring big chunks of knowledge quick and felt organised in that knowledge acquiring, rather than being Alice just flailing in the air going down the rabbit hole. I thought it would make me feel organised. And if you're already going deep with the things you've got, I think understanding that Depth Youre won't change how you feel about learning, or it won't change the speed that you're learning. That for me was something that I hadn't considered. All it meant for me was I had a bigger stack of books waiting for me behind the books and the decks I was already going deep with. So if you have decks that you're not really using and you're still buying, then yes, that might make a difference. You might start to go deep with the decks and the books that you've got. But if you're already doing that, stopping buying isn't going to change how fast you acquire knowledge. It just means you've got less of a pile building up behind the stuff you're already going deep with. Does that make any sense? Am I waffling? I think I am. What number are we on? 5? I think we're on 5. Number 5. It's not just about stuff for me, because some of you might be way more together with way less issues than me. But for me, Depth Youre turned out not to be about stuff. It turned out to be about emotion and running and fleeing and trauma responses. It turned out to be about addictions and the way my demons whisper to me. Depth Youre shone a spotlight far beyond spending habits and into the darker recesses of my mind, at the cupboards labelled disorders, coping mechanisms that aren't the most healthy, of the baggage that I carry from past hurt. Depth Youre and failing Depth Youre was a spotlight on where I still need to heal. It isn't just about stuff, Depth Youre, and I think you need to prepare yourself for that. Depth Youre can play with your demons, and it can be harder than just not buying things. Depth Youre can be about poking the demons and waking them up and having to sit with them and chat with them to find out what's going on. So prepare yourself for some demon chats over a nice cup of tea, because it's going to happen if you are anything like me. So why is it not just about stuff? Well, I started to notice after about 5 months of still buying like a maniac that it was mirroring other areas of my life where I have that compulsion to keep doing something, even though it might not be benefiting me. After about 8 or 9 months of just buying, I realised that actually this really isn't serving me now. I've gone beyond the newbie excitement. So this isn't just about buying stuff. This is where I needed to view Depth Youre differently. If you can see a correspondence with another area in your life where you are disordered in some of your behaviours, then it's not just about buying stuff. For me, it was a case of constant distraction, of filling an imaginary gap. If it isn't overeating, it was not overspending, because it didn't need to be really expensive, but just acquiring the next thing. It was about distraction, it was about running, it was about flight, it was about controlling emotions, escaping emotions. It's about trauma healing. So if you get into a position where you realise actually this isn't about the stuff, I think that's where you need to take a step back and think, what is this? What is this providing? If it's not just another tarot deck or book, what is it providing? For me, it was distraction. Distraction from what? I don't know, because I don't give myself enough time to sit just with me and find out what it is I'm trying to distract myself from. It's got to be emotions, it's got to be feelings. But what emotions and what feelings, who knows? Let's not ram it with sugar or another tarot deck. Let's really now sit with it and see what happens. That sounds scary as hell, but there is freedom on the other side of that scary as hell, I suspect. I suspect that there is healing now within a depth year. It's not just about stuff. Get yourself prepared. And that brings me to point 6. Perhaps depth year is about discovering who you are and healing work, or shadow work, or a celebration of who you are. It depends where you're at. For me, it's going to be about healing and reconnection and freedom. That word comes in very strongly. If I can free myself up from the need to distract, to have more, to eat more, to buy more, to do more, and just sit and be, I think there is real freedom at the end of that when I have it more in control. For me, the buying became addictive. It definitely became disordered. A depth year is a shadow work year. It's a healing year. It isn't, for me, about needing to go deep with using what I've got. I use everything I've got. I've said that before in this video. So what is it about? It's about not needing the stack piling up behind. It's about letting go of lack mentality. It's about knowing that things can be calmer and I am not going to fall apart. What am I trying to block off with the chaos and the mayhem and the spending? And for me, it's linked very much with the eating as well. This is real addictive behaviour here. So it's not just about stuff, and it might be about healing. It might shine a spotlight on where you need to heal. So those are the top reasons that I felt I failed depth year. Hopefully they might help somebody watching. So the first one, let's see if I can remember these, was allow yourself a beginner's excitement. Timing is everything, just like with a good joke. Don't demand a depth year of yourself. If you're new to stuff, it's exciting. Number 2, make sure your definition of what you're trying to do is clear, because get outs are doorways to ruin. 3 was, what was 3? I don't know. 3 might have been apps. Let's go with apps. So make sure you have buying apps off your phone if you are going to attempt it. 4 or possibly 3 or possibly 5, who knows, was identify where you're already going deep. It's not going to affect the way you learn if you're already going deep in some areas. 5, it's not just about stuff. Watch for how depth year plays with your demons. Your demons might make you fail. It might not be about the stuff. And 6, if it's not about the stuff, then you need this healing that needs to come in somewhere. If you are going to attempt a depth year and it's going to poke your demons, then prepare to do shadow work and healing work along with your depth year. Know that it's going to be damn hard if that's the case, because a depth year puts down the dam on the stuff that you would normally put in the way of the demons getting to you. So get yourself prepared emotionally. And I've thought of another one, 7. Don't attempt a depth year in a worldwide pandemic lockdown when all you've got is things coming through the post to look forward to. Perhaps not the best year to attempt it in. If you are going to attempt a no buy or a low buy year next year, then let me know. Let me know if any of that has been helpful. Let me know if you've tried it and any of it resonated. I am still trying to decide what I'm going to do for 2021. I am going to use my own tips, get me all grown up and everything, to try and decipher where I'm going with this, and I'll get back to you on that. So that's it, guys. That's my depth year update. The reasons you may fail your depth year. It is my opinion on my depth year. I hope it's been useful, and I will see you next time. Bye.